As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Well, we are back with another review of Big Game, and this time it is issue number 3. And like last time, I had a gentleman join me. Last time it was Wakizashi Steakhouse. This time I got Eric O'Sullivan, the Reverend Sully. How are you doing, sir?
I'm wicked pissa and getting better by the minute. Good sir. Thank you very much. From here, from our Boston studios. Seriously. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, hey, thank you for doing this. I knew like you were one of the guys when I thought about like when I wanted to do a video for issue 3. You were one of the guys. We have like it's funny, we have like a circle of guys where we know the Millarworld. So I was like, I wanted to make sure if I was gonna ask someone, I gotta ask someone who's in-house, who understands this stuff, and you're someone I wanted to get to. So I'm glad you took the time to do this. So thank you very much.
Indeed.
So
You're welcome and thank you. Yeah, this is he's like you, he himself, Mr. Miller has retweeted both of us. And
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That was weird for me. That
He's
was
a
really
cool
weird.
comic book creator. He's very, I've never seen anyone give him any crap except for like Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. I think Grant Morrison. I'm like, whatever. Like, you guys do what you do. I'm not thinking about you guys. I'm enjoying guy who's making fun comics, whether it's wild or wholesome. They're all one thing: fun. Imagine that.
He's
fun,
a professional storyteller, and whether I'm a chef, so he uses salt, he uses sweet, but he makes delicious, like savory, like a big steak or a nice, pie. You know what I mean? So he does, but it's always satisfying and it's always fulfilling, and you always want another bite.
I'd argue he makes a good pizza if we're gonna go by the food analogy, because
Okay.
he knows that every comic needs to have its cheese, every comic needs to have its bread, every comic needs to have its sauce, and we bring those ingredients together and you heat them up, and then all of a sudden you're like, this is perfection, this is art, and then it literally is art, and then you dive right in.
And then he does things with so many different creators. We have so many different kinds of pizza. And I mean, literally, he's worked with almost everyone. It's great.
Huck would probably be like his meat lovers pizza. If we'd have to go by that, we'd say maybe Juan, it was like his traditional thin crust pizza, getting to know the Millarworld a bit. Yeah.
The Unfunnies was his pineapple pizza that everyone argues about. Was it actually good? I don't know, but the Unfunnies, dude, no one remembers that one.
How do we make pizza analogies about Millarworld and make it make sense? I think we actually just did. Not to brag, but I think we just made that make sense. But anyways, yes, Mark Millar, for those who are keeping track at home, he's writing the story, got Pepe Larraz on art. And what were your initial first thoughts on this issue?
Well, okay. Well, thank you for asking, because I believe that in proper storytelling, methods, and this is Act 2 of the 5 issues. So it's issue number 3 out of 5 issues. This means it out of a 3-act story. We get the nadir here, and the nadir is like the lowest point for the hero, so they can rise up, and we can root for them to win by the end of Act 3. And we achieved this here. It's really good. It's shocking right off the bat. So we have things that happen right when you open the book up, and it's funny. And it's that Mark Millar's sort of funny. If you remember the like the end of Nemesis Reloaded, how bitterly funny that was, but it was cruel. I mean, he's funny and cruel, and it just hits us with it all at once. It's really satisfying. I had a lot of fun reading it. The art is pretty good. And it's just, I'm looking forward to what's next.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. No, hey, thank you. So my thoughts on the issue, I wanted to scream. I was very emotional. I loved it, but I was very emotional. I was like, Mark, I need to know about this. What's going on here? You're playing games with my heart officially. And that's when though, that's a sign of investment. But I'm like, And like I'm reading this, I'm like, what's this man gonna do next? And he said he's crazy enough to do things, and he lives up to the game, folks. This is not someone who just talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk. This book is it's not walking, it's sprinting. This book is it's laying out a big game, no pun intended, of its own, because he really talks and he absolutely backs it. I'm saying like, okay, I love the way the action is drawn. I love once again, it feels like all the voices I recognize of the characters we're seeing that are reoccurring. It's like I recognize them instantly right all over again. And it's crazy because I read it twice, because at first read, you're kind of just taking in the dialogue and you realize, oh, this is a quick read, but then you realize, oh, hold on, I can actually look back at all the details for the second read and admire it more. Then you realize it's not such a fast read, because you got to realize there's a lot of stuff going on where Pepe Larraz is telling the story, whether it was what's going on with Eggsy or what's going on with Dave Lazuski Kick-Ass. There's a lot going on in the story, and that I love when there's the art telling the story too. And I think that's such a cool thing when the artist gets to tell the story just as much as the writer himself. So yeah, as far as that, I really did enjoy Pepe's pencils. I love that cover, by the way. I'm a big fan of Huck. I love Huck, and Nightclub was a great addition to the Millarworld last year as well. So I was like happy
for
that
there was a Travis Charest variant.
What's
cover.
up?
Damn,
what's up?
snap! You got it. Sweet. I'm so happy for you. That's the one I wanted. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah, I saw his cover. I'm like, yeah, that's an easy decision with my life. It was kind of a no-brainer. I was just like, yeah, I have to do that. I have to do that. And
that's awesome.
I'm glad you mentioned, by the way, how there's the 1, 2, 3 act, because a lot of people may still not know issue 5 is an oversized issue. So I'd say issue 5 is technically issue 5 and 6 and is the third act, because that's gonna be like what, $7 or $8 too, which is that's the $7 or $8 I'm actually willing to spend. Because with the amount of crazy that's going on here, I keep saying this, whether it was, I was talking to my friends at the shop, whether it was about Nightclub or the Ambassadors, and now we're at Big Game. It's just like, he's got so much to wrap up. How's he going to do it? And somehow it works. And you're like, okay, now I'm saying, now I'm a little like, how's he going to do it again?
Again?
Crazy.
That's a good way to phrase it, because when we get into spoilers,
he's kind of on like a second win, like with this like phase where he's like getting back in the game and like doing more of these comics. And it's crazy to see that this late in his career, he's killing it the way he did back in the days of the Wanteds and the Kick-Asses, the Superiors of the world. So now it's great to see Mark having that. So yeah. Shall we get to spoilers? Eric, are you ready?
I'm ready for spoilers. Yes.
Okay.
Because people die.
A lot of people die. And before we say the names, this is your chance. If you haven't read this comic and you're invested,
there's a body count here.
Turn it off and come back to it after you read the comic book, and then rewatch the rest of this video, because 3 and 2 and 1. Let's talk about the deaths. Dude, Huck.
A baby teddy bear. A baby polar bear gets nuked. And it's in a backpack on Huck's back. A baby polar bear.
I felt that. I felt that, dude. This is what I mean with my emotions are. I'm like,
oh man.
Mark!
Now I'm not. One thing I don't read, and I haven't read of Millar's was Magic Order, because I like sci-fi stuff. So like I got Chrononauts like from way back in the day, and that's
him and Sean Gordon
Murphy. Exactly. And so I think that's gonna the conceit is hidden within Chrononauts, because he got his Corbin got Danny killed, right? And then he just goes back in time and fixes it. Okay,
time travel.
Yeah, I think it's kind of simple. I think he's hiding things in plain sight. And I also think the Prodigy guy is a bit too smart to just fall into that trap. Like way back in issue 1, like the end of issue 1 there. I think that Prodigy, I didn't read Prodigy, but I know a little bit about it. That I think he's a bit too smart to just not have, maybe there's a time
go along with this.
Like the what?
To go along with this, or what are you getting at?
I'm getting that, like, everything's gonna be fine by the end because of time travel and, maybe even Mindy, but we haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't
What
gotten
about
there.
Mindy?
No, we haven't gotten there
What
yet.
happened to
And
Mindy?
I'm so happy we got to not only see Mindy kicking ass, but also Eggsy too.
Oh my
Dude,
goodness.
he was kicking ass. And yes, folks, he dies too. He dies
Boom!
too. But
His
man,
head.
before that happened, before his head got splattered like from a death metal album cover,
Mhm.
he was kicking
It was like,
ass.
just like it was Matrix style too, and it was really good
Straight
art, and
up.
it's straight up at great action scenes, great pacing. I mean, you have these I'm not the biggest fan of, like, digital effects and, like, total, like, washouts of
Hmm.
backgrounds
Uh-huh.
because it's like, I watch a lot of, comics artist pro secrets, and so I know that, when you just, like, throw a one color into a background, it's a cheat. It means you
Yeah.
are lazy that day. It means you had a deadline. And I think that's a great, like, shorthand. So to see, like, but there's a great balance between the pacing of the panels and then the overall action and just like one panel into the other. These sequential art of this, it's quite wonderful, and it's great storytelling with two really great storytellers. And we're on our chairs right now because what's going to happen to Dave?
I am kind of freaked out at what's gonna happen today because I thought about like him getting the suit on was a big thing for me because I remember when the movie was new. I remember
Hmm.
that the whole like atmosphere about a movie like this coming to theaters. So there is a lot of like those memories were coming right on back. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you read this as a new reader, you're thinking this guy is a big idiot. And then if you read this as a seasoned reader, you're like, you're an idiot, but I think you might have a shot. I don't know how, but you might have a shot because somehow you have found a way before. But these are insurmountable odds to the point where the Magic Order are just saying they're like, hey, we're gonna let this play out, and we hope evil no doesn't prevail again and hope that everything evens out. But no, I thought about what if that doesn't happen? Because or what if there are characters who die but don't, but there's a character who does actually die as like the one true cost of the story to
Hmm.
go forward. Because I think there's gonna be someone who's gonna stick. Who that might be, I don't know. Do you think? And I thought about, I'm like, could it really be Dave
Hmm.
Lazuski?
It
Because
could be.
oh man,
Because he's
this
such
it
an
feels like
innocent. He's a great sacrifice, you
he
know?
feels like oh, like this feels like even though he's not old, because they say he's only like 31 in this, but this feels like that would be the way for him to have a complete story. The fact that he quit being a superhero, and even though once again he's not the old, but this is him giving it a shot one last time, but against odds far greater than he's ever faced. And it would definitely make something for a tragic death, because obviously he's got a lady at home. So I love seeing the panel, but boy, am I worried for Dave. I'm worried for Dave, and I was
Worried for
also
his
mad about my
friends.
boy Superior too.
Well, I'm worried for Dave's friends. He's getting Justice Forever back together for one night. He
I
even said
know.
so. So he's gonna get his friends killed.
And that's a great thing too with the dialogue Mark used. Can we mention how he's like, "This is like the Crisis on Infinite Earths happening"? I know, like, yes, the self awareness. I love
I
when Mark
just
does
love
those
it.
self aware
I didn't even buy
references.
DC or Marvel anymore, and this is great because I think that I think that Dave is actually an RFK Jr. pastiche. The whole like I gotta get in there and do the right thing kind of thing. Joe Biden needs all the help he can get. It's right there in the funny
Yo, I
book.
know, I saw
It's
that.
so fun. I mean, that's a ding. That's you want politics in comics? Get your
That's a
politics
smart
out of the
way. No,
comics.
that's a smart way of going about it. And that's the thing, because like his books aren't always really that political. There, I guess you could say there are parts where it has like themes of it at best. But if you want to throw in a reference or a nod, that's a great way of doing it. It
Uh-huh.
shows you it can be done. It can still roll with the book, and it's all good in the hood, man. But dude, the violence was everywhere. Seeing Eggsy, dude, Eggsy got splattered.
Cracked like an egg, dude. It was an ironic ending for Eggsy.
I thought of this band I listened to called Exhumed, and they had a
Mhm.
song called "The Matter of Splatter," and that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that shot to Eggsy's face. I was like, You just
Boom.
made an Exhumed song come to life and you didn't even know it. And then you get Wesley and the Fox showing up, and
That's
they're like,
great. That was so nostalgic in a
oh,
way too. That got me in the feels because there you go. They were our anti-heroes of Wanted, the first. So we were rooting for them at one time. And now we have a reversal of that.
yeah,
And
smart
that's
play on that.
really interesting story. Like, once again, great storytelling. And I really appreciate that. And that we're smart enough and that we're vested enough in these characters and the stories. And like he said, he's gonna there are things that we haven't gotten to. We barely got to Starlight. He got mentioned in the last
Yes,
Peace
first
Between,
issue. He was
and
at that class,
yeah.
yeah.
And the MPH guys are still out there. I love MPH. MPH is probably a Millar one some of the viewers haven't heard of.
Mhm.
Duncan Fregato did the art, and it's
Yes.
about a couple like 3 or 4 Detroit inner city kids got the secret of super speed, and it's got such a great ending. This lands really well, and it's about it's kind of like the nightclub gang.
Mhm,
These just inner city kids. They got superpowers now,
mhm.
and you know what I mean. One of them might fall away. You know what I mean. With it just, and it's really believable and it's fun dialogue. But he comes back to these themes of the young super team, like that MPH and a nightclub. I mean, that was just so fun.
Mhm, mhm. Oh, I agree strongly, and I'm glad you mentioned something about the Wanted being the characters, the anti-heroes that we grew up, especially in the comic book culture in the 2000s. Like that was when a lot of the indie books were hot, and
Mhm.
Wanted was a book that was like an evergreen seller. And we
Yeah.
all, a lot of us grew up on Wesley Gibbs and the Fox. Those were like our characters that we knew they were bad, but we loved them. We loved them.
And it was on
And
Top
now,
Cow. I mean,
yes,
so it was like, and so it was just, it had a really cool publisher, and we knew that this was a new concerted effort by Mark Millar, and he was
Mhm.
just going off. He said, "I'm going off on my own." I even got a domain name,
And look how well everything turned out. I love it.
dude.
That's another thing what makes it good from the fact that we grew up on these wanted characters to now. He pulled a WWF heel turn with these characters. He pulled a
Mhm.
wrestling style storyline where it's just like, Grad, damn it. I was invested in these characters, but now I have to hate them because they're going after Hit Girl. You don't go after Hit Girl.
Dude, that was fun. That was over the top superhero versus supervillain dialogue. Just like talking, it was great chatter. I mean,
Mhm,
Wesley
mhm.
was just owned. He is, the leader of the fraternity. This is no joke. Gr- oh, hello. And who doesn't like dinosaurs? Just,
Dude, we got to talk
oh.
about that ending. We gotta talk
Mhm.
about like finish your thought, and we're gonna get to this ending.
Well, that my thought was going there anyway. It's so Mindy, grabs some chrononaut tech and
Mhm,
ends up what 65, 85 million years in the past.
mhm,
And there,
mhm.
hence the dinosaur. That's how she gets out of the situation. Wesley was about to kill her. They were Eggsy and Hit Girl infiltrated the fraternity's secret headquarters. And
Mhm.
you know, there we go. Hilarity and calamity ensues. But also when
Well worded.
wow, I mean, but when Eggsy didn't make it, but Mindy does, and
Mhm,
she escapes using some chrononaut tech and ending up
mhm,
in the far past.
mhm.
Maybe this might even explain the buried huge statue in issue 1, which that's
Yes.
set up to a payoff. It's
That's
coming.
one thing, and you wanna know what's another thing that's a subtle path? It's gonna
Uh-huh.
explain how we get to the world of Reborn in Adistria in the future. Because remember that's the
Ooh.
afterlife? That explains that too with
Yeah.
Bonnie.
Oh,
So, yeah,
wow.
see, I know we're
Great.
surprising each other.
Oh, snap. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow. And
we
that was
got a
great Capullo's art
lot.
too, man. That was so
Oh,
good.
dude. That was
Man.
probably some of my, especially I think it was issue 2 or 3 where he drew like this
Mhm.
giant tree land. That
Uh-huh.
was some of my
Oh,
favorite
wow.
Capullo art that I'd ever seen, like in the history of
Damn.
ever.
And he
We'll just say
and he just
ever.
enlists, I mean, and will Empress be part of this? I have no
Oh, I
idea.
hope.
Dude,
I
I mean,
hope.
but he's just had so many great, I love baseball. And one
Mhm,
thing I always compare a good comic book to is a baseball team. And the
mhm,
writer and the pitcher, I mean, the writer and the artist are the pitcher and the catcher, the
mhm,
battery. They're calling the plays, and they're setting the tempo. And then you have your colorist, who might be the bass player. You have the drummer, who could be the inker, and so on. But
Yeah.
just you always had this dynamic. Like it's like Mark Millar is like he's like the Pedro Martinez. I'm from Boston. He's like the Pedro
I remember Pedro
Martinez.
Martinez. Yeah,
I
go
mean,
on.
God, Pedro Martinez. I don't care where you're from. He just like
He was an ace.
he was nasty at times, and he was sweet.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no,
yes.
he it was fitting that he played for Boston Red Sox. It fit like a glove. But anyways, not just got no great analogy. You're right though. You are absolutely right on that, and I see where you come from, and I wholeheartedly agree. It really does take a team to make these things happen, and Mark and Pepe really made this happen. This book
Yes.
shines. I don't know if you're a score guy. If not, you don't have to say it. If you want to just say you enjoyed it, but I'm gonna say this issue gets I'm gonna do the score here. I'm gonna go with a 9. I'm gonna go with a 9.0. I'm gonna go straight 9 on this one out of 10 for this issue.
Oh, out of 10,
It
I was
feels
thinking 13.
perfectly 13.
No, I'm
I see what you did. I feels perfectly paced where it's going. A lot does happen, even if it feels like a quick read. Go back and reread it again, because you realize there's more to details than what you see. So it is very mayhemic, as I said before. It's very mayhemic, and it's fun, even though it's like even this is some really brutal stuff. And yes, I'm still gonna be emotional about Huck and the polar bear. How dare you? How dare you?
In the cold open.
In the cold. But I still loved it.
Baby
I forgive
polar
you,
bear
Mark.
got
I forgive
nuked.
you. Yeah, we'll still be friends.
Oh my God, he's
And
a kid in a wheelchair.
I know.
Dude.
But
Mark Millar, he was a kid in a wheelchair, dude.
I know.
I haven't been this upset at a writer since Judd Winnick took Jason Todd's shoes away in the animated, you know what I mean, Under the Red Hood.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I even said to him on Twitter, I was like, Judd Winnick, you sick, what did you do with his shoes? That's when you know they're gonna get a bad ending.
This is why Jack Kirby is right when he says comics will break your heart.
Oh man,
You
it was
straight
good
up
stuff.
got me. It was
Man.
good stuff. What were your final thoughts on this as we wrap this up?
My final thoughts is I'm looking forward to what's next. I'm looking forward to 2 more issues, and especially an oversized ending. I like the oversized ending technique because he was doing the same thing in Nightclub. We got 5 issues at $1.99 in each, and then he releases a double-sized issue at basically, what was it, $4.99?
$3.99.
And that's like the $3.99 has been the median price of a comic book for the past, I think, dozen years. I get this from Comicron, which is a really decent website full of information. And so the median price is probably going up to $4.99 an issue very soon. Like I just paid $4.99 for the brand new issue of Superman issue 6. But it was pretty good. Yet it's a standard issue. Batman is selling for $4.99. And most of the other, DC and Marvels, sell for $3.99, but that's going
I
up
might change with those too. That might. I'm shocked that Todd McFarlane can still pull out the $2.99 as well. Yeah, well, the pricing of comics is gonna be very interesting in the future. But regardless, I have no problem spending whatever big game costs. I think it's gonna be $7.99. If that's the case, I don't care. I know I'm gonna get a story where love is put into it.
I hope I can get a variant cover like you did. That's the one I wanted.
Yeah,
I'll find that. Dude,
what's up?
Travis Charis, man. Oh, sick. Man.
Yeah.
And if anyone else,
killer cover.
Anyone out there, if you're not tuned into him, Mark Millar has a TV show, he's got a YouTube station, and it's called Miller Time, and he's got some of the best interviews with comics creators and such a splendid spectrum of people. And like Francis Lennell Yu was one of my favorite interviews. What a great time.
Super Crooks, yeah.
Oh gosh. And he even had Bendis on, and that was an interesting conversation, and he's had this huge
Brendan
array.
McCarthy is a good one.
Oh gosh, that's such a good one. You talked to Frank Whiteley, and I would as a creator, I would love for him to maybe find some common ground and hopefully have Grant Morrison on, because those two
I'd
were
love for that
friends.
to happen. Yes, once
Yeah,
upon a time.
they were friends and co-writers, and then they had a falling out. But now that we're old, we're getting older, and like maybe we still have a story to tell. And I would love to hear, these two mad Scotsmen, maybe like having a pint together over a Zoom and having a decent civil conversation about comic books, about where we're going, about storytelling, because they're of like they're master storytellers, and I'm blessed and grateful that Mark Miller, thank you so much for the funny books. Keep them coming. I'm gonna keep buying them.
Oh, that was a perfect comment. Awesome. Well, Eric,
Thanks,
thank
buddy.
you for doing this chat, review, discussion, analyzation.
Been
I appreciate
fun.
your time and your energy and your passion. It's very contagious, by the way. Which is saying a
Thank
lot
you.
because you and I have both been up since 4 or 5 a.m. Yeah, we're acting like we just both got fresh out of bed. We've both been up half a day each.
We
So
both just shared a really good funny book, and
that's what it was all about. It,
and it's
it brought
about
the
buying
additional life.
yes. This is comic book fans unite. Happy new comic book day, and happy birthday, Nick.
Oh,
Please,
thank
cheers,
you,
man.
sir. And no, cheers to you. And before we go, what do you got to plug on the way out for
Sure.
our wonderful audience who watches this video?
I have a channel. I have a growing channel. I'm about 1,161 members strong and growing every day. And
Woo!
it's been really fun. It's like, I make daily comic book content, 3 p.m. US Eastern daily. It's called the Comics Coffee Table, where we take a break together. We have a cup of coffee, we sit down and relax and have a break, and we talk about our hobby. I'm reboarding, rebagging, and reboxing my entire collection, so I'm handling all these old funny books of mine I've accumulated over 20 years. So I'm getting this like keen eye for grading my comics. And I got the Overstreet price guide and the Overstreet guide to grading. And they've been such helpful tools. And just being like looking at all these old stories, and especially the ads, they just
Mhm.
bring you really back, and they make you realize about the ads in modern comics, and like, and you kind of get an appreciation for these old stories, the old art. There's plenty of good stuff to talk about in comics, and you know what? I'm here for that. So yeah, you can hit me up, like and subscribe, ring that bell.
You heard him here, folks. Check out his channel. He posts his content all the time. I can verify that myself. I am sub to his channel. So check
Prolific.
him out and watch everything he does. And if not, put on watch later and then put on while you're sleeping. That way he'll be with you in your sleep. So
And
regardless, go ahead.
super big shout out to like someone on my Mount Rushmore, Gary Beekler of Neurotic. He shared with me the importance of the gratitude list a few years ago, and it's been one of the most transformative things in my life.
Mhm.
I do a kind of gratitude list every morning. I've adapted it to my own needs, and I found greater purpose with it. So Gary, and also on a member stream once, Gary said you just need a really good microphone, a decent webcam, and something to say, and you can do this too. And it's kind of a paraphrase, but then like
No, I get what he's saying. Yeah, it
he
makes sense.
mentioned this gratitude list thing, and it really helped. And it's been like the most effective tool in my coping mechanisms. And I want to pay that forward the way he paid it to me. And if
Mhm.
anyone is like in the need of, finding some strength from within, find make a gratitude list. And over time, it helps. And it's indelible. It's You can unlock this too. I mean, thank you, Gary. If you,
And
cheers.
thank you, Eric. And thank you.
And thank
You're
you,
putting
Nick.
yourself out there. I mean, dude, I loved hanging out with you, chatting comic
Haha, it's
books.
good to see you.
No, no, dude, the feelings are so damn mutual. You have a great, well, day or night, whatever it's becoming for you. I know we're
You
both on. We,
And
we both
go
have
and
been.
buy
This is
big
late for us.
game. Go out to your local
Yes,
comic book
go
shop
buy
and
it.
buy big game. You probably need bags, boards, and boxes, you filthy comic book fan. You need boxes and boards. Go
All
buy them
right,
at your local comic book shop.
you heard him here, folks. Thanks for watching this video. You all have, and the video cut out. and I meant to say have a great day, evening, wherever, whenever you are, and lay down your soul to the gods rock and roll and check out Big Game number 3.
Back here!